Are all three of those guys a chance to play, or is that a day-by-day assessment?
Day by day, really, we just see how they're trending.
And what about Bowden? How's he come through? Is he a chance as well?
Yeah, he trained well yesterday, so again, the next couple of days we'll have a good look at that.
Having had a bit more time to think and linger on last night's performance, what are your thoughts this morning? Much the same frustration?
Yeah, lingered on a lot, and been through it. It's, clearly there was a whole lot of stuff that we were pretty dominant early. We got ourselves into a position, particularly in that last 30, where I thought Argentina stayed in the game. They put us under a lot of defensive pressure, and we sort of stuck to an All Black DNA. We tried to play and carry our way through a really strong defensive line, and we need to be a bit smart about how we offer variety around that.
Was it more disheartening than anything to see that drop off in the second 40, given the way you held them out in the first half and had that lead at half time?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we're obviously desperately trying to build some new habits in this team about what we're doing on the park, and it seems that we're taking a couple of steps forward and then suddenly you take one step back. So that is frustrating when we are trying to build some new stuff there, but we've got to keep working on that.
You saying go back to the DNA of running the ball, and the decision makers to have a kicking game, does that come to the number 10, or is it the captain? Who makes that sort of calls?
Well, it's a collective thing, Richard. We just got to get smarter at playing what's in front of us, and I think showing a little bit more respect to a D line. I think we saw our D line in that first half. What I thought was particularly strong, and Argentina sort of resorted to a kicking game early against us, and perhaps in that last quarter we needed to show them the same respect.
The discipline, 14 penalties conceded, and pretty disappointing, I guess.
Yeah, 14-12 is a high penalty game for both teams, and I guess it's the manner of them that the penalties that hurt you are often the ones early when we're a little bit overzealous in that offside line. And I think I said last night the last quarter ones were primarily at the attacking breakdown, where we were clearly getting frustrated with a few things, but we maybe needed to control that a little bit better with some of our tactical decisions.
Did you ever chat to Sam, your captain? He gave away that penalty with Matera. It was pretty vital because they kept the penalty. No doubt he was frustrated, but it's just one of those things that can be a real killer. Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. It's we'll work through all that, and it's probably just reflective of a team that's trying really, really hard and is close but not quite there.
So when you sub him sort of soon off, is that sort of a pre-plan?
Sorry, was that first one?
When Sam got subbed soon after that, about the 65th minute, 66th
yep.
minute. Is that pre-planned, or is that something, a reaction just to tired legs? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. We just felt we needed to make. We just felt we needed a bit more power in our carry stuff, and so it was really a decision to, I guess, take a feature off and put a ball carrier on.
Okay. Because it's sort of become not a feature this year, but we have seen it a few times with him. Is that going to continue in the future? Is it?
Oh, it'd be game by game.
Okay. So, and I don't want to bang on too much about Sam, but you've still got full trust in him as the skipper and being able to make decisions on the field.
Yeah, look, it's clearly he's under the spotlight. We're all under the spotlight when things don't go well, but behind the scenes, strong. I thought a lot of his tackle and his work around the breakdown was a big shift up the last two games, and we're pleased with that.
How would you assess Cody Taylor's form at the moment? And I know it's at the back end of Super Rugby. You said it had been a battle this year to get to where he was earlier last year. How would you assess his form?
I'm not. Cody's working hard, trying hard. I think it's when the set piece doesn't go well in the last 15 minutes, it's easy to point the finger at the hooker. When you lose a few line outs. So, we'll dig down into that. But certainly he's with everyone. He's just working his butt off to try to get things right.
Did you consider holding back Stephen Petafeta, or did you just want to get it out on the park last night?
Oh, you consider all those options. I guess the subbing became a little bit niggly at the end, particularly with the yellow card and the nature and the position of that. And again, Stephen was a guy that we really wanted to get on. We think he can inject stuff into to our attack with his footwork and his second receiver role, but it was a game that didn't quite flow that.
See, consistency's been hard for this team to find this year. Is there a mental hurdle to overcome, do you think, to try and find that consistency?
Yeah, well, often when you're trying to build something a little bit different, it takes a little while, and it's pretty frustrating, isn't it? You know, it's frustrating, I'm sure, for the viewers and the fans, and it's frustrating for us. But you know, we have got a lot of faith that some of the things we're building are paying dividends, but it's you know, it needs to happen quickly, and we know that, and that's why, you know, we've just got a nice. If you go back to South Africa 1, South Africa 2, it hurt. We felt we were moving, and we just shortened our focus down, and that's what we've got to do now. We've just got to shorten our focus down to Hamilton and show that this group can actually keep building those habits, make some strides, and the only way you get consistency is one step at a time.
So on that, is it where to from here? Is it tactical changes, player changes? What do you think it is?
Yeah, well, we've got to look at that last quarter. There's clearly we've got to look at our response to teams that want to stifle us, and you know, we've done a lot of research over the years about games we've lost over the last 10 years, and there's a similar pattern in our DNA that we like to hold on to the ball and try to run our way out of trouble, and it's probably a New Zealand rugby thing, and we've got to sort that out.
If it's in your DNA, it's going to be quite difficult to fix, though, isn't it? That's a natural go-to under pressure.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming we probably have all seen that same picture a little bit, and it's and yes, it's clearly not that easy to fix, but you know, and it's hard when something that's your strength, and I think in the first half it was a strength. You know, we were making them make a lot of tackles, we were starting to get them behind them and create some things, and that was good, and so it's kind of natural that you want to go there when you're under a bit of pressure in the last part, but we've just got to balance that with a little bit more wisdom and how we mix things up.
Ian, Stuart Mitchell said during the week that the board decision to support you was 100% unanimous. Do they now basically just leave you alone, or do you continue to have conversations with people like Mark Robinson?
Oh, look, though, I mean, Robbo's an Aussie at the moment. He's been in touch. You know, the board's was here, so you know, we're all in. Well, look, but let's face it, we're all hurting too. None of us like losing, and again, but you know, I guess the flip side of it is that everyone's aware that we're putting some new players in some areas. We're trying to grow parts of our game that we think we've struggled with. We were quite rightly criticised last year, perhaps for getting beat up front in certain games. I think we made big shifts in that, but you know, we've just got to put all those little learnings into one game, and we showed we can do it in South Africa, and we've got to do it again in Hamilton.
And on that, Ian, do you think the heat will come back on you again this week? Are you expecting that?
Of course. But you know, I guess right now is that's part of my job. But I guess my only request is that, you know, just like, you know, like we sold out Orange Theory Stadium. I thought the crowd were fantastic, and their attitude to the team afterwards was fantastic. You know, and I think, you know, we just need as much support as we can get now, because it's hurting, and we know everyone else is hurting, and it's if people want to get angry, that's their choice, but it's now's the time to get them behind this team.
Are you excited to get back to Fozzie territory?
Well, I'm just looking forward to the next game. You know, it's and it's been it was a great week here in Christchurch, and we didn't get the result we wanted, but you know, we're still in this championship, we're still climbing, but it's really getting consistency of building those habits is the key thing for this team right now.
Do you look at the other results in the Rugby Championship and just go, it really is quite tight across the board?
Yeah, well, we've seen an issue in Southern Hemisphere rugby, and I guess none of the four teams have found a massive consistency when you look across it, and so there's been some pretty strong fluctuations in form. So, you know, whether there's some systemic issues in there, I'm not too sure, but we just got to own what we own, and right now, I guess it's the championship is still alive and well. You know, it's pretty much in our destiny if we can pull 3 games together. But what that means is Hamilton becomes pretty critical.
When Mark Robinson gets in touch, I mean, is it just a message of support, or is it just a true crowd? What's it?
Yeah, look, he's deeply invested in how we go and wants to know.
Just a clarification from last night, you said the Samasoni when he's replaced, was that soft tissue, or is it just a pre-plan that you're going to sub him at that point of the game?
No, it wasn't pre-planned. It was basically there's two. I think Ethan had a tightening calf, and Tyrell had a quad knock. And just talking to the coaches, there was a belief that when we changed the two props, that changing the hook of that combination was something that was worked for us the previous week, and that's why we went that way.
So is anyone in doubt from those guys that came off, or?
To be fair, I was doing a medical assessment now. I don't think so, but I think they were like precautionary before they got serious.
And just clarifying your earlier comment, so are you saying the team's now going to have to pretty much play a more conservative game to counter these things that are trying to stymie you?
Well, that's the issue, isn't it? We don't want to. We want to play a game that suits us, but we've got to. But there's parts of a game and periods of a game that we've got to be a little bit more respectful of the opposition having some wins defensively and how we deal with it.
Just after having time to mull over last night's game with the referee, do you think it's appropriate for the match? Right man for the job last night?
Oh, look, he's World Rugby appointed ref, and we'll make our views in the appropriate channels.
Saying that there need to be some quicker adjustments on the field to the way maybe the referee's interpreting certain areas?
Well, that's certainly the way we're trying to approach it, and that's the only responsible thing for us to do. And again, if you go to particularly the ones that really bit us, I thought was in that last 20-25 minutes of the game when if we offer more variety in what we offer, then maybe it takes that attacking breakdown out of the equation.